beating you with a view to a kill. Hello, that's Gonna and welcome to my review of A View to a Kill. A View to a Kill was released in 1985 and is the sequel to Octopussy, not the sequel to Never Say Never Again. Yes, I previously reviewed Never Say Never Again on this channel. That was my most recent Bond review, but it's not the sequel to that film. I just reviewed Never Say Never Again because Sean Connery was back in it, and also I just thought, you know, why not review it, eh? But anyway, basically, A View to a Kill is the sequel to Octopussy, and A View to a Kill, like I said, was released in 1985 and is directed by John Glen. John Glen, who previously directed For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy, the two previous Bond films before this film. Anyway, basically, this film stars Roger Moore in his 7th and ultimately last outing as the iconic character, James Bond. This film also stars Tanya Roberts as the Bond girl in this film. We also have Grace Jones in this film, and as well as that, we have Christopher Walken as the big bad Bond villain in this film, known as Zorin. Anyway, I'm going to try and explain the plot as best as possible for this film, but it's a bit of a weird plot, I'm not going to... But anyway, basically at the start of the film, James Bond is sent on a mission to go and recover a microchip from a fellow agent, and on his mission, he discovers a plot from Zorin, the big bad Bond villain in this film, played by Christopher Walken, to flood and destroy Silicon Valley, killing thousands of people and ultimately leaving Zorin with a microchip monopoly, leaving him with all the microchips he needs from Silicon Valley. But anyway, that's the general plot of the film. I missed a bunch of things out, but that's the general plot. That's what the film centers on, this microchip and Silicon Valley and the evil plot from Zorin. And basically, before I went into this film, I heard mixed things. I heard things from quite a lot of people I know who are close to me saying A View to a Kill is actually a really, really good Bond film. You know, Roger Moore went out with a bang. And then I read reviews on like Lois Maxwell and IMDb and saying that, you know, this is actually Roger Moore's works. And well, I think I ultimately sit in the middle of the good reviews and the bad reviews. First of all, I'm going to give some praise to the film. I actually think the Bond song about A View to a Kill by Durran is absolutely fantastic. You know, I liked this song before I ever knew it was a Bond song, so that's always a good sign. It is a really good Bond song, and it had me like beating my head, oh yeah, like, oh, you from a view to a kill. I forgot the words already, but yeah, it's actually a fantastic Bond song. It's actually one of my favourites from the Roger Moore era, and one of my favourite Bond songs overall, actually. And I also think the music from John Glen is absolutely fantastic. Once again, hearing themes from A View to a Kill in this film is absolutely fantastic. He did really well with the score in this film, and also I think Christopher Walken as the big bad Bond villain in this film is really good. First of all, he's used quite a lot in the film. I think one of the things that I had a problem with in Octopussy was the Bond villain in that film wasn't really used much, and that's kind of the same with For Your Eyes Only. Even though I did actually like Chris Tatos in For Your Eyes Only, he wasn't used as much as he could have been. But in this Bond film, they used Christopher Walken quite a lot, and I'm so happy that they did, because he's so good in the film. Honestly, I think it's just the way Christopher Walken acts. If anyone's seen Christopher Walken in the film, you'll know what I mean, but just the way he portrays a psychopathic villain, it's just so good in the film. You can really believe he's a psychopath. There's actually a scene in the film like, what does that make you? Dead, and then he's shooting. He's really good in the film. I cannot say anything bad about the villain, and his performance of the villain is really good, and he actually has some badass villain moments where I was like, yes, I can dig Zorin as villain in this film. But I'm afraid that's where my praise ends. First of all, I think Roger Moore is too old to play Bond in this film. I think it's like one film too many, if I'm being completely honest. I really liked his performance in For Your Eyes Only and his performance in Octopussy, but he even joked in this film that he's about 900 years too old to play the part. And well, I'm not gonna lie, I really like Roger Moore, but yeah, his performance as Bond wasn't nearly as good as it was in Octopussy or For Your Eyes Only, in my opinion. Or The Spy Loved Me. You know, those were like, his performance in those films, like, that's classic Bond. In this film, he was just a bit like, he felt a bit like Sean Connery did in Never Say Never Again. Like he was Bond, but he didn't really want to be anymore. And he's not terrible in his performance per se. I actually think he's better in this film than he was in Man with the Golden Gun and in Moonraker. But ultimately, I'm just kind of happy that I get to watch a new Bond now. Also in this film, I'm not a massive fan of the Bond girl played by Tanya Roberts. Nothing really bad to say about the character itself, because she actually has some significance in the plot. In the third act of the film, not to give anything away, but she does. But her performance of the character is just a bit stale, if I'm being completely honest. She doesn't really give a fantastic performance, and to be honest, it doesn't. So that makes her come across as not really a memorable Bond girl. And ultimately, her performance was just a bit lacking and stale. Also, Grace Jones in this film, her character she plays it well. I'll give her that. Her performance in the film is good. But what the hell is her character? If we had some backstory to her character, maybe I'd be more invested in the things she does. For example, she has some very large significance in the third act of the film. But the thing is, for all the scenes she appeared in the film, I just didn't know who her character was. And then she has this really close relationship with Chris Walken's character, Zorin, and it was just really weird. I wish they explained that more. Who is this character? They just don't explain much. He's dressed in these weird costumes, and there's even one scene in particular where they know Bond's a 007. They go and search for him in this building, and then they find Bond in a bedroom, and he's obviously naked, and he's in bed, and then Christopher Walken's character gives Grace Jones' character the nod, and Grace Jones' character goes and well, guess what happens next? She seduces him, and it's such a weird scene though. It's not your typical Bond sex scene. It's not. It's just a really, really weird scene, and she's ultimately just a really weird character. And I didn't really get who she was meant. I just didn't get her character in the film. Nothing bad to say about her performance. I did actually think her performance was actually pretty good, but the character was just downright weird to watch throughout the whole of the film. And also, the action sequences were entertaining. I'll give them that. There were actually some very entertaining action sequences in the film, but ultimately, some of unnecessary. Don't get me wrong, there are entertaining action sequences in this film. Don't get me wrong, they are. But there's actually one scene where he's in the city and he's being chased by some police cars, Bond is, and he's on a fire engine, and he's hanging off the fire engine ladder, and it's swerving like side to side when he's on this road, and it just didn't feel like a Bond action sequence. It honestly didn't. It felt like an action sequence I could see in any old blockbuster, to be honest. It didn't feel like a Bond action sequence. It just felt a bit weird and just felt out of place in this Bond film, if I'm being completely honest. And also, by the way, the fight scene in the third act of the film between Zorin and James Bond in the film, which, by the way, I did appreciate that there was actually a good fight scene between those two characters, you know, James Bond and the Big Bang Bond villain. I did actually appreciate that. But it just feels so anticlimactic, if I'm being honest. Yes, it's on the Golden Gate Bridge, don't get me wrong. That was pretty awesome when I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. I was like, oh, that's where the final sequence takes place. Actually, at least the last fight sequence might actually be pretty good. And then they got to it, and I just couldn't get over how tacky it was. Whenever Bond's like hanging off the San Francisco Bridge, all you can see is behind him. It doesn't look realistic. It just looks like a screen. Honestly, it just looks like they put some green screen behind, or whatever they did back in the 1980s. I kind of have to believe that this film came out 21 years after Goldfinger. In the third act of Goldfinger, you have this climactic, end sequence, a fantastically strong climactic end sequence, and it feels really good, and it felt really realistic. I didn't really feel tacky at all, apart from one little moment. It didn't really feel tacky at all in Goldfinger. It came out 21 years before this. Goldfinger came out in 1964, and this film came out in 1985. And the thing is, in this, the fight sequence just feels so anticlimactic, so tacky. I had to believe that 21 years after Goldfinger, which actually had a really, really good final action sequence, comes this film, which the final action sequence of this film just feels so tacky, if I'm being completely honest. How has that happened? It's kind of hard to believe that the same person directed 4 Hours Only, Octopussy, and this film, if I'm being completely honest. But don't get me wrong, this is not the worst Bond film, and it's not Roger Moore's worst Bond film. I think it's definitely better than Man with the Golden Gun and Moonraker, and I'd happily watch this Bond film over those two Bond films any old day. But also, I wouldn't happily watch it over films like Live and Let Die, which I thought was really good, or 4 Hours Only, which I thought was really, really, really good, or Spy Who Loved Me, which I thought was actually fantastic. It just felt so lacking for Roger Moore's last Bond film. Although I think Roger Moore is an absolutely fantastic Bond, he just wasn't really that good in the film. And ultimately, a large part of this film did not feel like a Bond film. About just over a quarter of the film was the film I wanted it to be, the Bond film I wanted it to be. And then 3/4 of the film just didn't feel like the Bond film that I wanted. It just felt so out of place for Bond. It just didn't work, in my opinion. And although films just have some really strong perks, like Christopher Walken's fantastic performance and an awesome Bond song, ultimately, it just comes across as weird, and ultimately I felt underwhelmed by the end of this film. Like I said, it's definitely not the worst Bond film, but at the same time, it is not nearly as good as some of the other good ones that were done before this. Ultimately, it's a disappointing end to a fantastic 13-year reign of Roger Moore Bond films. He played Bond for 13 years, by the way. That's pretty good. Even if he wasn't fantastic in all the movies, that's pretty damn good. But ultimately, A View to a Kill, his last film, I just couldn't help feeling a bit weird. I just couldn't help feeling a bit weird and underwhelmed after watching this film. Definitely not the worst, but definitely not the best. All in all, I'm going to give this Bond film a 3 out of 10. I'm not very precise in this one, and even if I was, it would be a 3.0 out of 10. It's just what I said before. Over a quarter of this film felt like the Bond film I wanted it to be. But then, about 3/4 of the film just felt like so out of place and so not Bond. And I hate to say this, but I'm actually looking forward to a new actor play Bond. I'm really looking forward to Timothy Dalton's interpretation of Bond, and perhaps a breath of fresh air into this franchise, which seems to be slowly going downhill. Although I think Roger Moore's fantastic, and he did really, really well as Bond, ultimately I think he went out on a bit of an underwhelming film. So all in all, I'm going to give A View to a Kill. I really hate to say this, but I'm going to anyway. All in all, I'm going to give A View to a Kill a 3 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of A View to a Kill? Do you love it, do you hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And just to reiterate, I'm still watching and reviewing the Bond films right now. So look forward to my review of The Living Daylights, starring Timothy Dalton, a new Bond, coming very, very soon on this channel. Perhaps, maybe not next week, but very, very soon on this channel. Definitely go and watch that film. I'm really excited to see it. Timothy Dalton playing Bond, someone else playing Bond. Ooh, really excited. But anyway, look forward to my review of The Living Daylights, coming very, very soon on this channel. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV reviews and Bond reviews coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!